Hey guys, it's Sunday and it's 12 o'clock, which means it's time for Q&A here on this slightly unusual YouTube channel. First of all, hit subscribe. Second of all, let me explain what's happening here. Over the course of the week, we put out a whole bunch of videos. And on a Sunday, I put a video up. Any questions that are in the comments that are kind of too long for me to actually reply to, I'm going to do a Q&A every Sunday just answering those questions. So over the course of the week, if you have any particular questions on any of the videos that you want me to answer, then stick them into the comments and I'll answer them on a Sunday at 12 o'clock. So let's have a look at this week's comments. Okay, so first question we have is from a guy called Stanley Zhao. First of all, Stanley, thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. And he was asking about wallets. He said, what's the best version of the card in envelope in wallet? For those of you watching this that don't know what that is, it's a trick where a spectator signs a card, the card disappears, and it appears inside a sealed envelope inside a wallet. It's an amazing trick. Most working magicians do this trick, and I have to go on, I do that myself. I always carry a card to wallet around with me at every gig I go to because they are so versatile and there's so much stuff you can do. Now, there's two wallets. I've tried hundreds of wallets over the years. And there's some amazing ones, you know, JOL do some great wallets. There's some brilliant wallets. However, there's two that I always go back to. My favourite, and they're both by Harry Robson. Now, if you don't know who Harry Robson is, in my opinion, he's the king of wallets. He makes the best wallets. They're beautifully made. They look amazing. They look just like a normal wallet. And I think that's the most important thing for a card to wallet. They need to look like a normal wallet. If they look like nothing on God's green earth, then, you know, it kind of goes against the point. So Harry makes amazing wallets that last a lifetime. And the first one, the one that I use primarily of Harry's, it's called the Worker's Dream Wallet. Now, first of all, the load is brilliant. I mean, absolutely amazing. You literally just take the card, go straight in for the wallet. It loads within seconds, straight into the envelope. It's a great card. So you can use it as a card in wallet. You can use it as a card in envelope in wallet. Either of those are absolutely fine. But it's got a few other built-in features as well. So it's got an out to lunch on there. So you can do out to lunch, which is great. You know, you can actually have that. It's actually built inside the wallet. So as you open up the wallet, you've got out to lunch built in. And also it's got two pretty awesome peaks built into it as well. The first peak is kind of an SUC type peak at the outside of the envelope, at the outside of the wallet, sorry. But the other peak, you put it into a separate compartment and you get the peak in a completely different place. So there's two separate peaks. I've been using that wallet for many years. It's a brilliant wallet. I would highly recommend the Worker's Dream Wallet. The other wallet that I'd say is really good is, again, Harry Robson's, and it's called the Instant Reset Wallet. And this is great if you're doing one of those gigs where, like, maybe you're doing walk around and there's 1,000 people there. You're not going to be going to gigs like that in the moment, but where you've got lots and lots of people and you just literally need to perform, and you haven't got time to reset the envelope system. Because for those of you that don't know, when you do card to envelope to wallet, after you've done it, you have to take another envelope and put it in and have it set up and kind of go into that. And it can take a while. With the Instant Reset Wallet, I think there's like 15 envelopes that you can set in there, and you just literally, it's an instant reset. You do one, then you do another one, then you do another one. So if you're going to a gig where you've got to get around as many people as possible and you haven't got time to reset that wallet, then that is the one to go for if you know you're going to be doing card to wallet an awful lot. Both of them are Harry Robson's. The best place to get wallets would be, in my opinion, Prop Dog. They don't just have the Harry Robson wallets, they also have all the other wallets as well. They do the JOL range. And while they're, in my opinion, the best envelopes to use in card to wallet are the Boncelopes by Dave Bonsall from Prop Dog. They are absolutely amazing, and they come in lots and lots of different sizes. So those are the two best wallets in my opinion. But you know, in the comments, let me know what you guys think. Maybe you've got a different wallet that you absolutely love, but for me, Harry Robson all the way. I'm a Harry Robson fanboy. Okay, so the next question is by Gary Ogden. Hello, Gary Ogden. And he says, how do you go about performing at weddings? Now, this is a massive subject that I'm probably going to tackle on a video on a Monday. On Monday, I put videos out at 9 o'clock called Marketing for Magicians, and I will be putting a video out on how to get more work as a wedding magician. However, to give you a brief thing, realistically, there's two places that you can get wedding work. The first is going to wedding fairs. Okay, so that's the first one. If you don't know what a wedding fair is, it's a place where lots of exhibitors pay to exhibit. Brides and grooms go around, they speak to the exhibitors, and then potentially you can book a bride and groom right there. The whole idea is that you can show them what you can do live and in person, which is a lot better than finding you on the internet or something like that. So wedding fairs are really good. I used to do wedding fairs an awful lot. I don't do them anymore, and the reason is wedding fairs are typically on a Saturday or a Sunday or an evening, and it was fine when I didn't have kids, but now that I have kids, if I'm not performing on a Saturday or a Sunday, I don't want to be sitting at a wedding fair for 5 or 6 hours. I'd rather be hanging out with my son and my daughter and my wife. So that's the reason I stopped doing them. However, I've found since I've stopped doing them, it hasn't really affected the work that I get as a wedding magician. I still get tons of work because I've just taken the money that I would spend on wedding fairs and I've put it somewhere else. The one thing that I would say about wedding fairs is do your research, do some due diligence. I meet magicians, and what they do is they go to wedding fairs and they'll get somebody going, hey, do you want to exhibit at this wedding fair? And they'll say yes without even checking it out. There's certain questions you need to ask. How many brides are going to be there? What's the footfall? Have you run this before? How many people did you get last year? How many people did you get the year before? What have you done to market this wedding fair? What have you done to advertise it? What have you done to entice brides to come in? Because you don't want to go to a wedding fair where there's like 5 or 6 people there all day. You'll feel like you're completely wasting your time. So you want to make sure that the wedding fair that you're going to is a good one. And then secondly, when you get there, you want to have a way of capturing their data. You will get people booking there and then. You can get people booking there and then, as long as you're decent at sales, and we'll cover that on a video in the future. But the majority of the people won't be wanting to book there and then. They might not have even set a date for a wedding, but you want to capture their data. And you don't just want to say, from a GDPR point of view, you don't just want to say, give me your email address and I'll spam you. You want to have a reason to actually collect that data. Hey, I've put together a PDF of, the best 10 big tips for a bride on their way, planning a wedding entertainment. I'll send that for you. Just give me your email address and I'll pop a quote in there as well. Something like that. But you want to make sure that you have a strategy to get people's details when you go to the wedding fair. If enough people are interested, I'll actually do a video just on wedding fairs on a Monday, but just let me know in the comments. The other thing that you can do to get weddings is by dominating Google, by making sure you're at the top of Google, because there's lots of people every single day searching for wedding magicians, and if you're at the top there, people will inquire via your website, and that's the route that I go down now, and that's all about making sure that your website from an SEO point of view ranks highly. Now, this is a subject for another video. I'm not going to go into this right now, but there's lots of different ways that you can actually appear at the top of Google, and that's the other way to do it as well. One thing that I would say, and this is very, very important, is when you are trying to get weddings, understand who your target audience is. And I know that people watching this, they're probably thinking, well, my target audience is everybody, it's brides, but you kind of have to understand that, there's 3 different levels realistically. When you're pitching yourself out there, there's 3 different levels. You've got the premium, which are like roughly about 7%. You've got the budget, which is about 20%. And then you've got the middle section, value for money section, which is everyone else. Premium, for example, think something like Armani. Budget, think Primark, and in the middle, just think like I don't know, but obviously I'm not very fashionable, but a decent price. Now, what you want to do, and this is really, really important, is you need to figure out who it is that you're marketing to. So if you're marketing to those premium people, you need to understand that those premium people, they want the best. They've got unlimited budget. They don't care about anything else. They just want the best. So everything that you do and everything that you put out there must show you as the absolute best. If you're after the budget market, and I wouldn't do that if I were you, because then there's always somebody going to be cheaper and you're just going to be having people trying to haggle you down all the time. But you need to make sure that everything's aimed at that audience. So it's really, really important to figure out who your target audience is. Really, in marketing, we call this creating a customer avatar. Try and work out who your ideal customer is, and then everything that you do from a marketing point of view needs to make sure that it targets that particular type of person, or bride in this case. But we can go into this more in a future video. But yeah, basically, wedding bookings, 2 ways of getting them. The first way is wedding fairs. The second way is by dominating Google. Okay, so the next question was from Mike D. Hey Mike, how you doing? The question is, how do I get my 5-year-old kid into magic like Ryland? Good question, good question. I'm quite lucky with Ryland, I've got to be honest with you, I'm quite lucky. He's a very clever young man. And he's got this kind of attitude of there's nothing that he can't do if he tries. I remember at the beginning of lockdown, he wanted to learn the mem deck. And I was like, well, okay, you're not going to be able to learn the mem deck, kid, but okay, I'll teach it you. And literally within 2 weeks, he was getting an instant recall better than me. And it's the same with the Rubik's Cube. I think he learned the Rubik's Cube when he was 4, 5, something like that. And again, he was watching me fiddle around with the Rubik's Cube and he's like, hey, I want to learn the Rubik's Cube. I was like, okay, I'll teach it you. And literally within 3 days, he was just sitting there everywhere. I remember taking him to London and we were on the tube and he was just there mixing up his Rubik's Cube and solving it again and again. And his solve time's now 16 seconds. So I'm quite lucky with Ryland in that he is a very clever kid. He is he's one of these kids where if he wants to do something, he'll do it. It's the same with drumming. He does drumming and he's absolutely amazing at it. The problem with Ryland is if he's not interested in something, you can't get him to do it for love nor money. So you have to get his interest in it. Now, I always turned around to my wife and I always said that I wouldn't force him into learning how to do magic. And the reason is, when I was a kid, my dad was into air modelling, making like air models out of balsa wood, and he tried to get me into it. And it bored me senseless, and I pretended I was interested in it just to make him happy, but I wasn't. I just hated it. And I always said to my wife, look, if he wants to learn magic, that's cool, but he has to come to me. He has to want to learn magic. I'm not going to chase him around all of the time. And I'm lucky that literally from the age of 2, he was obsessed with wanting to learn how to do magic. But even now, I don't force him into learning magic. He comes to me. Hey, Dad, can you teach me this new trick? Hey, Dad, when are we going to learn the stuff for the review show next week? Hey, Dad, can you film for my? Can you help me film for my YouTube channel? So, but the onus is on him, not on me. Because I think that's really, really important, because I don't want to put him into a situation where he's being forced into doing something that I want him to do. But in terms of getting your kid interested in magic, I mean, the bottom line is magic is a hobby. I know it's not a hobby for everybody, and it's not a hobby for me, and it's not a hobby for a lot of semi-professional and professional magicians, but ultimately, I love magic, whether I was paid to do magic or not. I love magic. It's something I'm very passionate about. And Ryland sees that, and I think he just wants to share that with me. So, show your child magic. Teach them a really simple trick. Teach them something simple. When I first started out with Ryland, I started off teaching him card tricks, and I taught him like a cut deeper force, and then I taught him stuff like that. And then I went on to a coin vanish, and I taught him a coin vanish. Then I taught him a sponge ball vanish. I think one of the first routines that he was able to do completely was Pat Page's sponge ball routine, and we spent ages working on it. And reward your kid. I do that with Ryland. I'll kind of say, okay, right. If you can get this down. He's just recently learned a rope trick at Rainbow Ropes for the review show. And I said, look, if you can get this down, this is how you do it. And he followed along. I'm like, cool. Right, you go away and practice it. If you can get this down, Friday night, you and me will watch a movie together without the girls, without mommy, without Thea. We'll just go down and we'll watch a film together. And that gave him something to aim towards that I know he wants to do. And so that's all it is, really. It's just kind of not forcing them into it. Make it fun for the kid, and I think that's really important. Make it fun for the kid. Teach them tricks that are challenging but not too difficult. You don't want to give them something that they just absolutely can't do, because then they're just going to be frustrated and give up. So give them stuff that's challenging but that they can do, and make it fun and give them rewards, and just encourage them. I think that's the most important thing. Just encourage them. Positive encouragement. Don't shout at them and go, why haven't you practiced today? That's not going to work. Okay, I hope that helps. That's all I've really got on that. I'm just really lucky that Ryland's super into magic. My daughter Thea, she loves watching magic, but she's not really into it. I've tried to show her a couple of things, and she can do a card trick, and that's about it. And that's all she wants to learn. She's into dancing, and that's absolutely fine. So just encourage your child, and that's all it is. Okay, we've got another two left. We've got another one by Gary Ogden. How do you handle nerves and shaky hands? Great question, right? Every single magician that I've ever met, including myself, has always started off with shaky hands, right? It's horrible when you go to perform and your hands start shaking. and you just can't stop yourself. It's a really horrible thing to experience. The thing you need to understand is that comes from nerves. You're nervous. And because you're nervous, that's translated into your hands. Your hands start shaking. The first thing you need to understand about nerves is nerves are good. Okay, because nerves mean that you care about your performance. If you didn't care about your performance, you wouldn't be nervous. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be nervous at all. You just go out and do it. I'm not bothered. You display nerves because you're passionate about what you're doing, and that's a good thing. So understand that nerves are a good thing. I get nervous all of the time still. I remember just before lockdown, I was doing an illusion show with a couple of guys, Si and Reagan, and we were at the Ricoh Arena in Coventry, and there were literally about 10,000 people in the audience, and it was massive, and they had like it was just huge. And we had to do a 30-minute spot, and I remember just standing at the side, and I looked out at the audience, and everyone was looking bored. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really nervous here. It happens, it happens to absolutely everybody. The key thing is, there's a couple of things that you can do. And the first thing is, it's mind over matter. And it really is. You just have to kind of say to yourself, I'm not nervous, I can do this, I can do this. It's kind of saying to yourself, I can do this, and calm yourself down. It's really cliche, but it works. Take a few deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And I always do that before every show. When I'm standing in the wings, or just before I'm going to go and do close-up, I just take a few deep breaths, and I just make sure that I'm just calm, and I make sure that I'm as calm as I possibly can be. Don't go and do a gig just before you don't get into an argument with somebody on the phone and then go and do a gig. You need to have crystal clear clarity when you're going to go and perform. That's really important. And the other thing is, know your material. A lot of the time people are nervous because they're working stuff in they've never done before, or they're worried it's not going to work. And if that's the case, if know what your 1,000 timers are, as Greg Wilson would call it. The tricks that you do inside out, back to front, upside down, left to right. The ones where you can literally switch off and you know that it's going to be amazing. What are those 1,000 timers? Because if you get to a gig where you feel more nervous about the gig, then you can fall back on the stuff that you can do inside out in your sleep. And then the newer stuff, or the stuff that doesn't hit 100% of the time, or the stuff that's a little bit more challenging, you can put a pin in that. I have routines that I do that are really super difficult, and I do them when I'm super confident. But there's sometimes that I get to a gig and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a tough gig, and I'm just there with the stuff that I know I can do inside out and back to front. And I think that's really important. Know your material. Practice. And when I say practice, I don't just mean practice in front of a mirror. I mean practice in front of real people. Try and put as much practice in as possible. Get so good at the trick that it can't possibly go wrong. You need to make sure, you need to get performing practice. Show everyone your magic. I mean, show your kids, show your wife, show your brother, show your sister, show your friend, show your neighbor, show your cousin, show everyone that you possibly can. That's really important, because the more you practice at performing, not just sitting in your bedroom shuffling your deck, but the more you practice at actually performing, the better you're going to get. Okay, so the final question comes from Sylvia T, and it's, what's your favourite coin trick of all time? What's your favourite coin trick of all time? Man alive, I love coin magic. There's a million tricks that I love. I'm going to be honest with you, I've talked about lots of magicians on this channel. David Roth, I love. Michael Rubinstein, I love. Mike Gallo, Lou Gallo, so many people, Jeff Latter. I have to be honest with you though, my favourite magician is Rune Klan, and he doesn't even do that much coin magic these days. But Rune's DVD, 3 Pieces of Silver. Well, it was a VHS tape when I watched it, but I think it's been re-released as Vanishing Ink as a download and a DVD. But his routine when he was really on his 3 Pieces of Silver, it was a massive inspiration on me. It was a massive inspiration. Really difficult stuff using regular coins, 3 of them. And it was it was set in a fake restaurant, and he was going up to people's tables and doing magic, and he was just doing coin stuff. And I remember just sitting there day in, day out, and learning every single one of those routines flawlessly, because I loved everything. And I remember going to Vegas to Magic. Was it Magic Live? Was it Vegas? I don't know. No, it might not have been Vegas. No, it wasn't. It might have been. I think it was the combined IBM SAM convention in Kentucky. I think, but I don't know. Anyway, Rune Klan was there. And I was sitting in a bar until probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, jamming with him. And I remember going up to him, and I was really nervous to meet him because he is an amazing magician that I have so much respect for. And I went up to him and introduced myself, and I said, I'm a big fan of your coin magic. I do absolutely everything. And I remember him saying, everything? Everything on 3 pieces of silver I do. And he's like, wow, there's some really difficult stuff there, show me. So I was performing all of his routines absolutely flawlessly, and I think he was a bit blown away. And we just had a coin jam, and he was telling me he doesn't do coin magic as much these days, but he still loves it, and he was showing me some new ideas that he had. And yeah, Rune Clan, 3 pieces of silver, for me, was the DVD that changed everything and really made me passionate about coin magic. So there you go. Anything on that is my favourite coin routine. There's a particular one where he takes 3 pieces of nothing. I've done it on the channel. And he says, look, I've got a piece of nothing. He shows all of his hands are empty the whole time. 3 pieces of nothing, and then boom, the coins just appear. It looks amazing. If you're into coin magic, check it out. Rune Clan's 3 pieces of silver. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what you think of this Q&A. Please let me know what you think of it. It's a new thing that we're trying this week. If people dig it, we'll carry on doing it. And let me know what you think of what I've said. You know, if you disagree with me, that's absolutely fine. Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if there's particular questions that you want me to answer, let me know in the comments on this video and any other videos we post over the week. And I will answer them next Sunday at another Q&A. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Slightly Unusual.